while some families have been taken to drier ground after spending the night on farmhouse roofs.
Flash floods devastate Lismore. Rescuers search for victims of the deluge. Good evening, Narelle Matlin for ABC News. Tonight, tropical cyclone Arvu approaches the Queensland coast. Missing feared drowned in the worst flooding on the New South Wales north coast in 15 years. The city of Lismore has been hardest hit, with the entire central business district up to 2 metres underwater. But it's the small farming community of Muwillumbah where the rescue efforts are focusing.
A shattered frame is all that remains of the Muwillumbah Bridge over the Oxley River near Muwillumbah. Last night, 6 people were watching the floodwaters from the bridge when it collapsed. 12-year-old David Grace was dragged from the swirling torrent by a 14-year-old companion who locals are calling a hero.
We were standing on the bridge and the water was about that far away from going on the bridge and watching everything go down. The next minute it just fell down and I started to run to the other side and it just swept me off. It just sucked me down and I struggled to get out and just got to the top just before just time to get some air.
For 11-year-old Wesley Barnfield, the wait continues for news of his father John and 13-year-old brother Mark. An extensive search of the river has failed to find any trace of the pair. The missing man's wife is in a satisfactory condition in Muwillumbah Hospital. Meanwhile, a full-scale relief effort has been launched in Muwillumbah involving 2 Navy Sea King helicopters and 2 surf life-saving helicopters from the Gold Coast. Food and medical supplies have been dropped into isolated rural properties, while some families have been taken to drier ground after spending the night on farmhouse roofs. At Muwillumbah, the rain is easing tonight, but much of the central business district is still underwater. Further south, Lismore is a disaster area. For the people of Lismore, this scene is all too familiar. It's the 3rd or 4th time this decade that the water has inundated the city, and the level is now approaching that of the calamitous 1974 flood.
I can just stand, it's up to my neck.
A dramatic rescue attempt in the heart of the city. Their desperate efforts ending in success. Few areas of Lismore have escaped unscathed. While some preferred to get their feet wet, others had more sense. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Wilson River was stationary at 12.06 metres. However, an expectation of further rain will keep authorities on alert for at least the next 48 hours.
Tonight, police were turning people away from Muwillumbah as floodwaters rose, closing Highway number 1. This morning, the extent of the deluge was revealed. Police and rescue helicopters were called in to ferry stranded residents from western Muwillumbah, plucking many from the roofs where they'd spent the night. Of the 7 people swept from the Tyalgum Bridge when it collapsed, 5 were found last night uninjured. This morning, police continued the search for the other 2, but there's little hope now of finding them alive. Police say the death toll could rise, with more rain expected tonight.
We still have helicopters in the area and we have more helicopters coming in. That's a fairly vast area up in the upper reaches and there's isolated villages and houses all through that area, and it's going to take a major search before we're satisfied that everybody's accounted for.
Tiny Tumblegum to the south of Muwillumbah is completely cut off by the floods, which locals say are worse than those of 1974. Fiona Crawford, 10 News.